friends, it's Haylene here and I'm back with another career talk video. This one is a bit more of a personal one rather than an insightful one, but I guess a lot of you have been asking about my previous internship experiences, and with a fresh batch of interns going into starting their internships this November, I thought I would also reminisce. So I thought I'd mix it up a little bit and have a bit of fun by rating my past internship experiences. Purely for fun though, so I hope those companies don't get offended. It's very much my own experience and some other interns could have had the time of their lives there, so please don't come for me. Just as a bit of background, when I was in uni, I kind of referred to myself as a bit of a serial intern. So I had 8 internship experiences within a span of 2 years. I think for some you may worry that this looks like you're uncommitted or you easily jump from place to place. But I think that's actually the point of doing internships during your uni career. You're trying to get as many experience as possible and be able to understand like what you like and what you don't like, so you can make the best decision when you start actually working. So let's jump all the way back to 2016, where my first work experience was at CBA. I actually managed to get my first work placement at CBA because I was part of a uni scholarship program where you do placements during your degree. And so CBA was actually my first preference, and I was really lucky to get the opportunity to end up there for my first ever proper work experience. My role was a business analyst within the mobile team. So I initially went into it with this perception that CBA would be like a stuffy and super corporate traditional bank, but it actually ended up being really forward thinking and emulated like techie vibes. So that was really awesome. And I ended up making a video during that placement near the end of it, where I compared like what I initially thought working in a bank would be like versus what it was actually like. And my team, after I left, actually submitted that into an internal competition, which it ended up winning, and then it got shown to executive leadership and Ian Narev, who was the CEO at the time. So that was just like pretty cool. I remember going in on day one and just being super nervous. I am naturally a very socially anxious person, so as soon as I went in, I did not know how to talk to anyone. I found my spot at like my desk, I sat down, and then I got really scared to like stand up and walk around the office because I didn't actually know how I should act within an office environment. And I was even scared to like find the bathroom. Like I was sitting at my desk thinking, man, I need to pee. And then I was like, oh, but I'm too scared to move from this spot. So it was a very nerve-wracking first experience. Luckily they assigned me this awesome grad who was in the year above me in the same degree I was doing. I also had a really great manager and also this amazing buddy who basically like taught me so much. She invested so much time in me and like gave me projects to do, so it was just really well supported. I think I mainly learnt about office etiquette, how to act in a professional environment, and also kind of fundamental business analyst skills. So like working with the dev team, writing user stories, running agile ceremonies was a big part of it as well. Which was really fun, and I felt like I was constantly learning throughout my whole time there. I was getting all these opportunities gradually to step up and lead things, run meetings. I also remember having a lot of free rein to take initiative and enable change in the organization even as an intern. I think I was about 19 or 20 at the time, but people just trusted me to step up. I ran a presentation skills workshop. I evolved how we did show and tell as a department, and I even worked with this other grad to kick off a whole process to almost transform a space in the office to be a chill out zone for mental well-being. So that was really fun. And then in terms of people, I just made heaps of friends, including people on my team, people who are grads. It was a very welcoming and supportive environment, and I feel like I'm just raving so much about CBA, but it was really a great first experience for me. I finished my placement there after about 8 months, and the day that I left they held a mini farewell. They'd written all these really nice messages in a card, and they ended up gifting me this Marc Jacobs wallet, which I still use today, and I just remember feeling really emotional at the time. So overall, I would rate this experience a 9 out of 10. It was amazing. I feel so lucky to have had such a positive first work experience. And then during that time, I was also looking at other opportunities for my internship that summer. And so I came across this business intern opportunity at Google. And for someone in tech, obviously, this Google was a dream company for me, as is probably the same case with many others. I think what helped me get that internship was I had actually been a Google Student Ambassador in the past, and I had also won this prize for like the Anita Borg Women in Tech Scholarship. And that summer I ended up joining Google Cloud in the professional services team, which when I went into it I had no idea what it was, but I was just like super keen. So as a bit of context, most of the Google business internships in Australia are either sales or marketing. So as part of my team, we sat in the post-sales implementation space, where after a client bought Google Cloud, we would help them with a strategy to roll it out across their organization. Again, I had a really great team and everything pretty much lived up to its expectations. The office was amazing, the food was amazing, the people were super smart and nice. I think the only thing that was missing a little bit for me was the creativity involved in my work, as well as like, I wanted things that were a little bit less salesy, a little bit more software product development. This was the internship where I developed the closest knit group of friends I've ever gotten out of an internship. We actually ended up traveling to Singapore near the end of our internship to visit the Google offices, which was a crazy experience, but it was so much fun. The opportunity arose basically because the rest of the team, apart from the interns, were going to Vegas for a training event. And so as interns, we were like, well, if no one's going to be in the office, maybe we can go somewhere else and really experience Google for the global company that it is. And we actually ended up having to write like a full business case about it. I ended up going to the Google Singapore office every day that I was there, so I just counted it as my work days. And we ended up getting approved to go, which was very exciting. There were just 4 of us. And so I was a little bit FOMO during that time because the other interns kind of took their leave. They hung out in Singapore together, they explored it whilst I was going into the office, because that was my last week of my internship. The Singapore office was super cool. I made a YouTube video about it, so you can check that out. I remember it being a crazy experience where the night before I had my flight, we ended up going clubbing, and I was going to go to sleep early, and then I was like, oh, I got FOMO, so I'll just go clubbing with you girls. I ended up going clubbing for like 2 hours or something, and then I was like, you know what, I gotta go home, I gotta go sleep so I can wake up for my 7 a.m. flight. I woke up a little late, got stuck in a little bit of traffic. I was by myself at the airport and I thought I was going to miss my flight. So I had this meltdown and I just like cried, and I was really stressed because the check-in line was just so long. And then the girl in front of me kind of gave me a look, and then I asked her where she was going, which flight she was on, because I kind of saw her ticket and it did say Australia as well. And it turned out she was on the same flight as me, and she was like unfazed, and she was just like, you can go in front of me. And it was pretty embarrassing, but at least I did not miss my flight, luckily. That is one of my worst nightmares. We did end up having a little bit of drama though within our slightly larger intern group, which actually ended up quite badly, seeing as we had to do this intern project together. And it escalated to this point where I recall hearing about this experience where they were in a meeting with my manager as well, who was kind of helping out. It was intense, and luckily or unluckily, because I love the drama, I was not in that meeting, but it did sound pretty bad. Nevertheless, it was an amazing summer. I had the time of my life in that experience, so I would rate that overall an 8.5 out of 10. And then the week directly after I finished that internship, I actually ended up starting my second uni program placement, which was at MSD, which is a global pharmaceuticals company. I was placed in the IT team, and the great part about this company was I could drive to work and park there because I just hated public transport. I'm sorry, I'm spoiled. The not so great thing was that this was a drastic change from Google, and I almost did a 180 where I went from somewhere that was super forward thinking, super quick, to somewhere that was a lot more bureaucratic and slower moving, especially because they were dealing in a highly regulated environment. So from day one, I had this feeling that I wouldn't enjoy it, especially since I didn't feel like I had much purpose. I didn't feel like I had a very set team either. Every day when I did go into the office, the people around me would be kind of rotating, and they said that there was no kind of established IT team. The work that I was assigned in the first few weeks was writing test scripts, and I know scripts sounds really exciting, but in reality what I was doing was there was this new kind of system that they had, and I was writing the test script for it, which was basically like step 1, type your username in. Step 2, type password in. Step 3, click login button or something like that. And it was just very tedious, and I didn't feel like I was learning very much out of it. The redeeming factor about MSD was we had this nice intern group, and we would meet every day for lunch and take breaks together, and it was just nice because a lot of us were kind of feeling the same thing, and so we would sympathize with each other, or we would play ping pong, and it was just really nice. I also thought there were some really great sharp leaders in the company as well, and for the times that I did get to meet and talk to them, that was a really great experience. But during that time, I couldn't see myself getting that much value out of it, which was something I had learned from my Google experience, was to seek value in everything that you do. And I felt like my learning was time sensitive. And so I actually ended up deciding to leave my scholarship program. I paid back $10,000 so I could leave the placement early and then seek other kind of opportunities that I thought would be more valuable to building my skill set. So I'd probably rate that experience a 4 out of 10. Now during that time of turmoil, I was really lucky because I kind of heard from my friend that she was leaving Uber at the time, and she was in a sales operations position in Uber Eats. And so when she decided to leave, I actually asked if she could refer me for the position that she was leaving, which she did, and then I ended up getting that role. So I got that job. I started it about a week after I left MSD because, you know, I love not taking breaks and I love just like working forever. I did feel like I was back on track to learning and immersing myself into parts of the tech industry. Obviously this job was not super tech side, but it was actually in sales, and so I was a little bit of a call center monkey, is that what they call them? Doing like 100 cold calls every day trying to get new restaurants on the Uber Eats platform. And I'm not gonna lie, it was grueling, especially for someone like me who has social anxiety, phone anxiety. So I did have days where I felt super demotivated. I would make calls 8 hours the whole day and not get a single yes. So I wouldn't say I really loved the work, but what I did appreciate out of it though was I was gaining really valuable skills. So building my resilience, learning how to influence others or how to tailor a pitch to a customer so that they're on board with your vision. And I had really great friends in my team that made it so much better to go to work with every day. After about 6 months in sales, I then decided I kind of wanted to try out something a little bit new, so they ended up moving me to the onboarding team, which was really fun because I got to go out to restaurants and help them set up their iPads for Uber Eats and like teach them how to use the system. And to be honest, it was just so much nicer because these people were already sold and decided to join the platform, and so they were just much more pleasant to deal with. When I ended up leaving Uber, it was mainly because I had to resume full-time study, and so I couldn't commit to full-time study, full-time work, and so I was pretty sad about leaving. The one gripe maybe I would have with Uber was that within our office, it just felt like the company was being run by students, so it retained a little bit of that like high school uni clickiness. And I did hear that it got even a little bit worse after I left. So overall, considering all these aspects, I would rate Uber 6 out of 10. Not bad for a student job. After Uber, things got a little bit messy. I decided to try diving into the startup space, so I was looking for some growth opportunities there. One of them was a growth internship at a company called Carousel, which is this Singaporean company / app that lets you buy and sell items like in a marketplace. Luckily for me, I had a connection with the country manager who was hiring the interns for that program, so I did end up getting a spot. The internship itself was part-time, so it was around 2 days a week, and there was a group of around like 15 girls, and everyone was just really fashionable and really chill. Each week what we would do was learn a little bit more about the growth and marketing space, and then run an activity to get more eyes on Carousel across the university campus. So we did heaps of fun things, like we did creative pictures, we did a photo shoot once, and then we would run events at our uni campuses. About halfway through, I actually realized that I was feeling really overwhelmed by all these things that I had taken on board, and I realized I made this classic mistake of overcommitting. So I did actually end up speaking to the country manager. She was really understanding about it, and I ended that program a little bit early. All in all, it was a super fun and creative experience though. I was really grateful for it. I just felt like it wasn't quite as aligned with the things that I wanted to learn. So I would give it a 7 out of 10. So at that same time, I was doing business development and UX design in a startup that was part of the university. And this was an unpaid position, but they were operating in a space that I was really interested in, which was kind of virtual reality, and they were building a platform to teach languages through VR. So I thought there would be really cool opportunities to learn more about building a startup, learning about UX design in VR. Since it was unpaid, it was super chill. I got to go in like whenever I wanted. So there wasn't very much structure to it. I learned a lot from the core team, and it was really exciting to be immersed in that world, but I wouldn't say that I contributed a lot of value back to them. So because it was pretty sporadic, I don't have as much to say about this one, but I would give it an average like 6 out of 10. It was pretty good. And then lastly, my penultimate year experiences. So the first one that I got was the product management internship at Atlassian, which I have mentioned in the past before. I went through the regular application process after a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn and suggested that I apply. When I ended up getting the offer, I was super happy because, again, like Google, Atlassian was another dream company I wanted to work for after I had been there for a site visit back in year 12. And this time I'd be working in a space I was really interested in, which was building software. To be honest, during my experience, I wasn't super happy all the time. My manager had never had an intern before, and so when he gave me my first project, it wasn't really related to building the actual product. So I felt pretty isolated from the actual team, and I didn't really need to interact with them for any of the work that I was doing. It did really feel like I wasn't part of the actual team, and I was just the intern there working on something on the side for about 3 months. And for that reason, it also felt like the dev team didn't really make the effort to get to know me either, so I felt a little bit lonely. I did have an awesome buddy though, and a really great design team, so that was a plus. And then I also made the effort to seek other mentors and intern friends during my internship, so I felt a little bit less lonely. But it's never really a great feeling when you think you're not connecting with your own team, because then it almost makes you feel like you're failing in that regard. A little over halfway through the internship, I did tell my manager that I wanted to work on something that was more relevant to the product. So he ended up assigning me on a mini proof of concept for improving our search experience, and that got a lot better in that I got to work with a member of the team, and I felt like I was learning more about product management. So it did improve. And the one key takeaway that I did learn through this experience was that by directly asking, you will receive, or people will try to make things happen for you, but you just need to be upfront about what it is that you want. Also, when I did end up shipping my major project, I felt this massive sense of accomplishment, and I felt like I had brought real value and made an impact for not just the people within my department, but also people within other products to improve their experiences and make things easier for them. So that was really great. Looking back, I would rate this experience a 9 out of 10, and that might be me being a little bit biased here because I am currently at Atlassian and I just love the company, so. And finally, the last internship that I did before I retired from being an intern and became a full-time slave to work was being a summer associate at McKinsey. I was so shocked and so honored to get this offer. I literally could not believe it. Like, I had no expectations for it as well. I started the internship literally the week after I finished at Atlassian. So again, I love no breaks from work. I cannot deny like how many opportunities I got out of this experience. It was incredible. I was able to be staffed on a project in New Zealand, so I was flying business class there every week. I had accountability over my own work stream. I was engaging directly with the client and got to be in meetings with very senior leadership. We also got the opportunities to stay in Auckland over the weekend, and they even flew my boyfriend over, so we ended up exploring like Waiheke Island, we went to Rotorua, and it was just a really fun experience. Looking back, I would not deny that it had its perks. Work-wise, again, I was not quite so sure yet. Because I was staffed on a more process-driven project, it meant that there was less creativity or less strategic thinking, and it was more applying a tried and tested recipe, and we were trying to facilitate that within our client. So I didn't find it super exciting, and I just remember there were afternoons where I would wistfully like scroll through startup articles and just dream about what it'd be like to build a business. The internship itself did teach me a lot about the consulting world. I learned about structured problem solving. I learned about how to communicate, how to build a compelling story, and financial modeling, engaging with clients and building client relationships and trust. And I'm super grateful for all that because most of them are essential soft skills that will help you succeed in any career. My concerns were that I was worried I was moving more in this like corporate business world, which I never really wanted to be a part of. I've always dreamt of working within this like tech culture. The other thing that I felt a little bit iffy about was that I was in a team and the rest of the team were just like full young, I hate to say white, but like Caucasian guys, and it was a little bit more difficult to connect with them. Not that they weren't nice, they were like super nice, but they had their own humor, they got each other, and I did feel a little bit like the outsider. I'd be sitting there like laughing at their jokes, and in my mind I'd be like, I don't get it, okay. Across the week when I was staying in New Zealand, it would get a little bit lonely. This was another really solid experience, so give it an 8 out of 10. So that brings me to where I am today, which is doing product management at Atlassian after a couple of detours. I'm super happy with where I am. I look fondly back on all of those experiences, and I would not trade a single one of them because each of them taught me some extremely valuable lesson which shaped me to be who I am today. I think the key benefit really was the learning. I would really urge you all, as you search for internship positions or consider your futures, to not go in with the mentality of, hey, this is gonna look really good on my resume, or this is gonna pad my resume. Like, don't just do things for the reputation or the big names out there, but when you are considering an opportunity, really think about how it is going to help you grow in a specific area that you're targeting, and what are the skill sets that you are looking to build. Anyway, that's enough from me today. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video with your friends, and if you really like me that much, hit the notification bell so you get a notification from me every time I post a new video. And today what I want you to do is leave a comment in the comment section below on what was your favorite internship experience that you recall and why. I would love to hear about your experiences as well. Whew. And I will see you all next time. Bye! Smiling every day with Hey Lenny.